Media Group. For effective PR concepts and advertisement, Island Made Products, Ministry of Tourism, the Department of Labor, Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Superwash with 11 locations, open 24/7 around the islands. Also by Ron's Electric Motors, Ron Frazier and Company. They can fix anything. Sky Bahamas, professionals in every way, every day. Kalina Financial Advisors Limited, CFAL. Executive Printers for laser check prints, 15 security measures, all under one roof, all on one check from Executive Printers. Henry F. Store, the light people on Mackey Street. And Le Bleu Ultra Pure Drinking Water, the official water of Hard Copy. Stupid is as stupid does. It's loaded. Listen up today. You can call us at 325-0235 BlackBerry 376-9234. Follow us on the World Wide Web, peace1075.com, cable top box 970. TuneIn Radio, any Android, iPad, iPhone. Follow us on Facebook, Hard Copy, Twitter, Hard Copy Bahamas. This is Hard Copy. And it is now another day. And as I said in my opening, today we're dealing from a premise that we've heard throughout our lifetimes. Stupid is as stupid does. That's the theme of our conversation today. Stupid is as stupid does. Today, the Bahamas Immigration Department was very busy. Today, very, very busy. They were busy about the island of Exuma and even elsewhere in the archipelago, trying with all their might to apprehend another few boats loaded with illegal Haitian nationals sneaking into the country illegally. But of course, this is a common occurrence, while the Bahamas appears incapable of stemming the tide. Forget about the emotion of the debate, of this debate. Forget about the emotions, because people can get emotional about these things. We're looking at the absolute construct of a matter that could become the destruction of a country. Take a long, hard, honest look at our predicament, my brothers and sisters. Long, hard look. Be honest about it. The reality is, we, the Bahamas, this country, is being annexed by the fleeing Haitians from the impoverished Republic of Haiti. And the truth is, this appears not to be by accident. This annexation appears to be deliberate, with clear determination and little regard for the sovereignty or welfare of the Bahamas or the Bahamian people. An educated observation is that this so-called Flag Day, which we talked about yesterday, this so-called Flag Day is an affront. This so-called Flag Day, many observers are looking at, and they believe it's going to turn into something else. Are you with me? Based on Haiti's history of burning, looting, violence, and overthrow, the Bahamas would be wise to take careful stock of our vulnerable position. Our own history in the Bahamas shows that there were always sympathizers within our own parliamentary government structure, many in the influential position, working feverishly to accommodate the Haitian National. Because from then to even now, that power base of those with influence, their idea was then, as it remains now, that the Bahamas need more people of working class, in some cases, in their minds, an underclass, to prop up the population, to do the work, and to help to build the country. So they look to Haiti. Those in authority then and now look to Haiti, whether you want to believe it or not. And the history would bear me out on this. And because I know the information so well, I can give you names. But I won't. It's sufficient for me to say that they have been around advising governments of this country from way back then to even now, and they hold positions even now in the country. And these are positions of great influence. What am I getting at? Things happen because people make things happen. Things just don't happen. I could tell you what comes to my mind in just recent times, a report out of the United States State Department examining the problems of drug trafficking throughout the 700-island rocks and keys called the Bahamas. And they made a very sobering observation. You want to know what they said? This was on the drug trafficking side, but it shows you how other clandestine efforts can also be accommodated. This is what the State Department said when they were concerned about the heavy trafficking of drugs throughout this lazy chain of islands that goes all the way from Haiti straight up, Turks and Caicos straight up to these Bahama Islands. They said this: the close family ties between these islands, Turks and Caicos and Haiti, Bahamas, was the reason why trafficking was so very prevalent in the Bahamas. The report at the time indicated that none would be or none should be surprised of such serious family ties between these people, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, Bahamas. But they zeroed in on Turks and Caicos for whatever reason. We have to ask ourselves, in the midst of all that we see today, a combination of people who make up this place called the Bahamas, are some of these TI, Turks and Caicos, people running the show, along with some Bahamians, here in the Bahamas, presently in large companies, hear me now, in large companies, in churches, and in the politics? Are there serious family relations with the Haitian nationals who continue to migrate unabated from Haiti to the Bahamas? Stupid is as stupid does. The people of the Bahamas are very concerned, in some cases quietly concerned, in other cases overtly concerned that they make it audible, they speak. But there are officials who are on the down low, who don't appear to be as concerned as you may be. In fact, they'd be the first ones to say, man, you are making a big deal out of this. But the truth be told, if they want to take a long, hard, honest look, this place called the Bahamas, not only New Providence, throughout the islands, Axe, Abaco, Axe, Eleuthero, Axe, Exuma, is being overrun by the other people in large numbers. Of course, we've got here a number of other people here on permits and whatnot. You see, the trouble is the migration of the Haitian nationals from the south of us is purely illegal. That's what the problem is. Understand what I'm saying here. It is purely illegal. They do not plan to try to come in properly. That's not an option. They plan to come in how they are coming in even unto a short few hours ago when another boat came in the islands. Running through the bushes, immigration officers dispatched to try to find these people. This is a daily headache these days in the Bahamas. There is none to help us. Not through CARICOM, not through any kind of other intervention by our neighbors to the north or anybody else. This is our problem, and we must face up to it. But to face up to a problem like this, dear brothers and sisters, we have to be honest. We have to be very honest. And honesty appears not to be the best policy in Bahamas. But we have to be honest. We know what the problems are, and we basically know how to deal with the problems. But it appears that we do not have the willpower to deal with the problem. We have within our borders not just illegal immigrants, but immigrants who plan to take the country from you. Flag Day. It's very sobering. It's not the best thing to talk about because we would like to pretend, man, that ain't so. I don't think I ain't. Well, go ahead. The bottom line is that I feel it in my spirit to tell you that this is the biggest threat to the Bahamas, this illegal migration problem. It is the biggest threat. You know within yourself, right where you are right now, that you are absolutely concerned, frustrated, angry even about what is happening. But what can you do? So much slackness in the governance of the country on this score. Of course, I think all appreciate that Fred Mitchell, who stands out as a lone and lonely soldier trying to deal with this matter. I think by and large, people appreciate that. But the truth be told, it is far obvious that this is not enough. Until the borders are sealed, until there's no more penetration, until there are no more coming in, we can't deal with what is here. We are busy. The department is busy, scattered about the islands, trying to make the apprehensions and try to keep these numbers down. And it is not working effectively because they keep coming. So what's the strategy? Can anybody tell us what the strategy is to deal with this problem? Don't look to Martelly. He's quite happy as the president of Haiti, collecting all the monies that are taking flight from here to go back home to Haiti. So don't look there. Why would anybody with such an impoverished state want to stop monies coming in supposedly to help that state? But let's look at the other side. Why should we sit here and allow all this money to be transferred elsewhere? Because the workforce is predominantly the Haitian national, and the Bahamians don't have jobs like that. You see, The idea of having others come into a country to work is nothing new. And it could work. It could work. But it has to be worked from a position of we know the objectives of what we want. It cannot work if we decide that we are just going to let anything happens, any kind of how, without any structural, systematic, accountable, transparent operation. In the 40s, the United States was getting ready to fight the war, 1942, and most of their men went off to fight World War II. And some of our boys left from here as well to fight with Mother England as part of the troops, who were not airmen, were foot soldiers from the Bahamas. But the United States, sending most of their men off to do what they were doing, to fight the war, they had a shortage of workers. And so they did something which your great-grandparents or your grandfather may know of. They did what they called the project, the contract. Listen to that word, the contract. It says a lot. When Dad them went to the contract, they were signed up. They were recruited by the Americans to go to the contract, or the project, as some people call it, to pick fruit, to pick beans, to pick tomatoes, whatever they were picking, because the work had to continue in the interior of the United States to feed their people. So they went all around the Caribbean looking for men, able-bodied men, to come and work on the projects across the vast United States. And they came to the Bahamas and got some of our fellas, and our fellas too worked on the contract. My father was one of them, as your father may have been one of them, or your grandfather. So they worked the contract. But the contract was designed in such a way that they came at a certain time, and they left at a certain time, and they stayed in a certain place, and they sent their monies at a certain time, and they maintained some monies in the States at a certain time for them to live off, because Uncle Sam wasn't paying them and giving them free room and board. They paid their way while they worked the contract, but it was all organized, all properly done. 1942. We can do the same thing if we really wanted to bring some people here from Haiti or any place else to work projects in the Bahamas. We can do it if we really wanted to. But that is not what we really want, because it cannot be by accident that successive governments have allowed this fraud, this thing to perpetrate over and over the decades, where they never designed any contract for this thing that they wanted to have people come and help to build the country, and they looked to Haiti. They never designed it to work efficiently, effectively, in a controlled way with structure, transparency, and accountability. So the question must be asked, why? Why would they not have done that? Why can't they do it today? Well, today may be a little different, because even now Haiti is destabilized. They're still not properly organized. But in the days of Papa Doc, Duvalier, and Baby Doc, they were a little bit more organized and could have easily be accommodated. Any government. But we didn't do it. So you've got to ask yourself this fair question: why would not we have done that if the truth was that we were really looking to build a population of a workforce population, to do some chores that we needed to build and develop these islands? Why didn't we do it? Why aren't we talking about it even now? Fast forward to 2015, this Christie administration recently said that they wanted to do some things with Haiti as far as trade was concerned and agriculture. We have heard nothing since. What are we doing? So all through the years and decades, we've had this problem. Now we have free range, where people are doing whatever they feel like doing in the Bahamas. They come into the country however they feel like, whenever they feel like, and they are not checking for what you think. That is the truth of the matter. Are they being assisted? The answer is yes. Does the government of the Bahamas know that these people are being assisted? The answer is yes. Fred Mitchell complained about it right on this show. That there are people who are doing things that are causing us to have the problems that we have because it's big business, he said. Big business causing everybody pressure. And then there are some who are deliberately coming with an agenda, knowing or unknowing to us. The natives, the people, the owners, the movers and shakers, the inheritors, the heirs of these here rocks and keys called the Bahamas. And they're bold and brassy enough to say what they feel like saying, even on the public airwaves, because they are going to defend their idea of this Flag Day that really is something more. And they wish for it to be something more. We all can tell. But stupid is as stupid does. You see? We know that this can't be right, but have we expressed any kind of real concern in the high echelon of government? They're awfully quiet. Serious. So when we hear stuff like what we heard when we were talking about this episode yesterday, and we got a call from a lady who I call her the caller of the day, because if she only knew that since that phone call, so many people have called the station, called me, sent stuff on Facebook, sent stuff on the emails and etc., text messages, because you know what they see with what she said? That this is the reality. There's a serious disrespect for the body of Bahamians in the Bahamas, while the leaders are very silent because they are either afraid or they are involved. Those are strong words. They're either afraid or they're involved. But this is the Bahamas, a sovereign country, independent since 1973, July 10th. But we seem to be making way for another nation to come into our nation and coexist under two flags. It is as clear as day, the agenda. But it seems to be, for politicians, an unspeakable matter to deal with. The Bahamian people are going to put question to every politician. Questions must be put to every politician, government politicians as well as opposition politicians. Because if you want to know the truth, the Free National Movement, the official opposition, has offered not one single policy solution idea on immigration to this country under Mr. Hubert Minnis. Not one. Remember now, it's only you and others who play this game about colors and stuff. Pay attention to politicians, not colors. Don't get involved with that. I say the Free National Movement has offered not one policy idea of solution in their forecast of immigration. They want to inherit this country. They want to be the next government. But how can we look to them when they have no idea of solution and have not enunciated any to this date that I can recall, that I know of? This is how precarious our situation is. We are in a predicament. And I have to tell you because you ought to know. You could reject it. You could listen, write it down. You could be mindful of it. But I'm telling you, no politician ought to get a free pass this time around when it comes to the policies, the ideas of what's going to happen with this immigration problem that is very vexing and very disconcerting. None have offered the government help on this matter of immigration. And there is nothing, friends, more important to national security than this matter. This is a serious national security matter. Nothing is more important than national security, you know. Not even civil rights. Not even civil rights. Not even civil rights. There are some who will tell you, well, you know, you got to do this because I say there's nothing more important than a country's national security. You don't believe me? Well, the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Gladstone Christie, shut down the Parliament just recently, last week, when he got word that the Ministry of Tourism's website had been compromised by some outsiders who are waving the terrorist flag. It was a national security matter, he said. Well, we've got even something more explosive than them penetrating and locking on to the website of the Bahamas. We've got clear and present danger throughout the archipelago by those illegals who have decided they're going to sneak into the country unknowing to you, without any consideration for law breaking, and they're going to create a subculture. There is nothing more ever present dangerous than that. And on top of that, they are pushing the envelope on this Flag Day. I tell you, I can feel it, that there is more to this Flag Day than what meets the eye. More to it. So much more to it that my favorite caller from yesterday had this to say as we continue our discussion about the vexing problem of immigration and illegal migration to the Bahamas. And remind you today that our theme is stupid is as stupid does. And that is on us, the Bahamian people. That's not on them. That's on us. Stupid is as stupid does.
Anytime you speak about the Haitian issue, I mean, you give me the ability to strive. Flag Day, sir, is represented, is a way of representing Haiti as the first nation that took independence for the world.
Yep.
So when the Haitians do celebrate Flag Day, it's not only for us living in the Bahamas. The whole entire world celebrates. Wherever Haitians are, they celebrate Flag Day. It's because we opened the eyes of the slaves that made you today sit behind the desk you are today.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Did I say thank you very much?
It is nothing to say that you're going to take over. There is nothing to take over, sir. You see, as a Bahamian of Haitian descent, I am so proud to be a Haitian because you know why? It gives me the ability to strive. It makes me think of who I am. And it says, don't settle for anything.
No matter where you are.
No matter where you are, because at the end of the day, we fought for the eyes of the world to open up.
I see.
Do you understand? So them going out there, and you know, the Bahamian people know this, you know, because there were a time when after all of that fighting and all of those things, the Haiti had to feed the Bahamas, you know, and
we had trade with Haiti.
Haiti called. I had the ladies call.
We still got trade with Haiti.
What contributions that the Haitians did? We're going to come out with that, you know, as of next year. We're going to do educational to show you the contributions that the Haitians did in this country, like any other nationality.
I hear you. Can I ask you a question now?
Yes.
You say that you do this because you want to feel proud. Wherever you are, this is what you do. Fine.
Wherever.
Okay,
Wherever.
good. Now.
It's in the blood, sir.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's like when it's in the blood.
I know what you mean when something is in the blood. There are many things in the blood.
All right.
There are many things in the blood.
It means to you to be a Haitian.
Well, listen, there's nothing.
Mr. McKinney, it tells you there's a meaning to this.
Yes, there's a meaning to being Bahamian too.
I don't know it yet because you haven't shown it to me.
Well, listen, if you watch and you see, you will see it.
You haven't. No, you haven't.
You say you are a Bahamian of Haitian descent,
I'm a Bahamian,
but you said that you are Haitian, and it's in the blood.
blood.
Yes, I hear you, and you say
you're not, Mr. McKinney. You're not teaching me.
No, I don't want to teach you. You can't learn from what I'm saying because you have your mind made up. What I'm telling you today is that what is happening here with your Haitian Flag Day that has been.
It wasn't the Haitian Flag Day. It was the World Flag Day.
No. Well, that's what you say. In the Bahamas, it was the Haitian Flag Day. All right.
World, because we open your eyes.
No. You ain't opened my eyes. Yeah, I'm trying to show you something.
It wasn't for Haiti today. You wouldn't have been sitting there because you still would have been under the slaves.
Yeah. Well, if that's what a fool believes, then you go right ahead.
That's history.
You listen.
Right? And we're going to continue on celebrating it. And I heard
of course.
About DTC.
Of course, you're going to continue on celebrating it because you are, ma'am, right now, what you're saying is egregious to the Bahamian people, you know. But you don't care. You don't give a damn about it because yes, and we don't care what you think either.
No, listen, why? You're the only country. You're the only country in the world that has a problem with Flag Day. No, we have a problem with the way it's done in the Bahamas. You're the only country.
Well, that's fine. Well, then maybe you should go to the other countries that don't have a problem with it.
I'm not going anywhere.
I know you're not going anywhere because you bad like that, because that's in your blood.
Hey, you have something personal with the Haitians, you know.
No, I don't.
Because, yes, you do. Because at the end of the day, nobody else
now
is
you
making,
tell me.
I guess you're getting a rating.
No.
Nobody else that's making noise.
Oh, you are so wrong, ma'am.
Yes, it is.
You are so wrong that there's nobody making noise. You have not heard it. You have a problem. You have a problem that you have a problem. You have a problem that Bahamians in the Bahamas take exception to what you do. And you're bigoted. And while you say you're a Bahamian of Haitian descent, you say you celebrate in Haiti. You could spin that any which way you want to spin it, to believe or make people believe or try to attempt to make people believe that this is about your deep-rooted this. But my friend, this is the Bahamas. This is a sovereign country. And Bahamians, whether you want to believe that we are free because Haiti had a revolution and you open the eyes, we acknowledge the history, but we also have our own history. And we make no apologies for it. And we are proud to be Bahamians. And if we are insulted by your shenanigans every year of trying to rub it in because that's what you feel like doing because that's in your blood, well, you appreciate that we take exception to it. Yeah, that was my little conversation with the lady yesterday. And as I said, outside of the emotion, the fact of the matter is that you heard what she said. Now, that particular statement touched off a firestorm of people calling and saying and expressing themselves. But she said a number of things in her exuberance to try to say what it is that they're trying to do. First and foremost, it is a Haitian Flag Day in the Bahamas that they have. We know what happens on Haitian Flag Day in the Bahamas. You don't need me to remind you of that. We've had incidences where the police had to be called in. They're dragging the Bahamian flags through the streets, under the cars, all that kind of stuff. They've had all kinds of motorcades and stuff that cause all kinds of problems. We know that the government of the Bahamas is trying to been keeping it on the down low because they are quite aware as to the problems that it's been causing and the insults that it brings with it. They know that. And that's why they've been trying to keep it on the down low. But there are people among that group who, in fact, are doing things to provoke in a sovereign country. On top of that, this is a country with its own flag. We can't wear two flags. One who comes to the Bahamas, as I said yesterday, to be able to have residency here or even citizenship, which we know in the Haitian population, that doesn't really exist like that. A lot of them are here illegally. End of story. And I make no apologies for saying it. So who are these people who are among us, many of them illegal, waving another flag? What could that be indicating? That's the logics. But stupid is as stupid does. That's the logics. If I tell you that I happen to have knowledge of the fact that the Department of Immigration got an alert that they should suspend all apprehensions on Haitian Flag Day, what would you say? You see why my opening remarks today gave you a little trace down memory lane as to those who were here from decades ago who had been pushing an agenda and may be complicit in the whole thing that we now see. And I make no apologies for saying that, because that's what it is. But just to back up a bit, and I see my lines are lit up, this is good, we'll have a good conversation in a minute. But what I need to say here is this, that shortly after that phone call from that lady yesterday, I got an email from a Bahamian, I suppose, F. Lockett, that basically says, Steve, the Haitian woman thinks we were awakened by them is so wrong. We in the Bahamas were the place where free or runaway slaves came because we had a free slave society here in the Bahamas. This is a historian. The reverse is that we encouraged them to rebel because they had the numbers. Hear that word? Numbers. They still got the numbers. They had the numbers. And as for help, we brought foodstuff. We bought foodstuff from them. Bought it. We bought foodstuff because we traded with Haiti, as I told you yesterday. We did. Ragged Island, Cuba, Haiti, that was the runs of all the old boatmen from way back in the day who went plying by boat between these islands to sell wares and trade it. Fair exchange. This is more recent. But back then, when she's talking about more than 200 years ago, there was trade with Hispaniola. And I'm advised, as this letter writer says, we encouraged them to rebel because they had the numbers. As for the help, we bought food stuff from them. We also bought food stuff from the Dominican Republic. We bought from Cuba. Nobody gave us food. We boosted the entire group of the larger islands in this chain. Listen, they were isolated after the revolt in Haiti and freedom from France. They were cut off from the larger world. History, this is. She says, he says, even up to today, they are still being punished for their actions. This is true. They're still paying reparations to France. And because of their attitude, this letter writer says, and because of their attitude, just like this woman, nobody wants them in their country. And now we in the Bahamas are finally seeing who they really are. Regards. This is what this person is saying. Now, of course, this borders on all of the emotion, but of course, trying to also get a clear sense of the historical dateline where people have been, as I said yesterday, propagandizing what had happened. And now today, there are some who feels a spirit of entitlement. We feed y'all. You all owe us. You can't be sitting on that mic if it wasn't for us in Haiti. We were always free. We had a free slave society here. They were propped up by others in the Caribbean who helped them to break away from France. Anyway, wanted to read that into the records for you, and want to tell you today that what we're looking at is trying to get to a location, trying to get to a place where we have to take stock of what it is that we are doing in our country, which is a sovereign, independent country called the Bahamas. You see, there are some who perhaps feel, even in the politics of the country, that we owe them something. And maybe that's why the old boys of politics, and I tell you, I can call the name, I got the whole list. The old boys of politics, the ones with great influence, who have prospered in this land and have reached the highest offices in this land, the old boys of politics, they believed that this was the way to go, for whatever reason, to bring in a group of people, and that's how it began to be encouraged. Loftus Roca, he still got some brain cells left alive, I'm sure. Did he ever tell you the reason why he ended up outside back in the day when he was the Bahamian people's hero, when people started to get out of hand and there were great repatriations? Did he ever tell you the story? Did he ever talk the story as to what really went down in the politics? And there are many others who can talk the story if they so dare. They can talk the story live. They can write the story. They can write the columns because they have access to the newspapers to do so, as to what their role was in facilitating an attitude and a viewpoint in the politics of the Bahamas that included other people as a priority to have them here in this country. Some are still around today, as I said. But you see, the story has been skewed and messed up because there are people now who come to collect everything that you owe me through their propaganda. And so I tell you, this Flag Day, you ought to watch it, because there are people who obviously have an agenda. Maybe if the organizers of Flag Day were pure in their heart to do something special, they've certainly been infiltrated by others who have another agenda. You don't have to admit to it, but we can see it. And that's why in this whole troubling scenario of the incoming, we have had so much incoming of these people coming here to the Bahamas, all the monies are gone from them and from the government resources for repatriation. We ain't got no more money. Mitchell in his last communication told this nation that, we've now got to go and get a foreign airline to take them back, and it's costing us more money because Bahamas Air can't go down there no more to deliver them. It's costly. What are we doing about it? You can feel the tension growing in this country. What are the politicians doing about it? They're the legislators. We pay them to think, to protect and serve this country from a national security point of view, first and foremost. We've given of all that we've had: health, education, and this thing that people keep perpetrating, but the United Nations hiding behind that, is also becoming very fraudulent. I'll tell you why. The Bahamas ignores some things that the United Nations says, And then again, they embrace some things because it works in the best interest, I suppose, of those in the power base. What say you, Bahamas? This is a slippery slope that we are on in our country, and this speaks to the future generations of the Bahamian people. It's easily controllable. It's easily to be dealt with, but there is no willpower to either. So what do? We can only tell you how we feel, and we can only suggest that persons who are there in the country, trying to build a country, trying to preserve a beautiful gift from God who gave it to us, we should have some say, hey? But it appears that whatever we say is being ignored. That's what it appears. 325-0235 or 6. I'm going to go to the lines. 325-02-4243, 325-02-5253. And you can call us as I open the lines today. Good afternoon, Hard Copy. Hi there, Hard Copy. Good afternoon. Hard Copy, good afternoon. Lines are full. Nobody's there. Hard Copy, how are you? Get back on the lines then. Hard Copy, how are you? Hard Copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, hello.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
Very good, thanks.
So, Mr. McKinney, I'm calling as a dialysis patient.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in dialysis right now, in fact. We right now are under construction. We usually get 3.5 to 4 hours. Now we're down to 2.
Yes, I know the story. I talked about it last week.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but it's really tiresome on us, and we can actually die from this with building up toxins and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I know. I talked the story. I'm still awaiting a report from my investigations on the matter. I brought it up last week. Hang in there, my dear. I hope that some hope and help is on the way. Hard Copy, how are you?
Hello, good
Yes, sir.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, Steve. I'd like now to topic we bring up. Basically,
No, you're talking too fast. I need to understand you. What you said just now?
slow down. With this situation with the Haitian flag day and everything,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's one point we look at. By the time God, you look at the political part of it. Something, the people who, like Mr. Loftus Roker, what you think the former government did with them? When they do too much to hate the people who help and support them at election time, they move in the way. Honorable Brandon McCartney, what they did to him? They chop him right down, sir. Let me show you something, Steve. When you're selling votes and selling the country, I call it, in the political terms, where you only want your people to get in power, so they go into the Haitian communities, whether they like it or not. They help their either PLP or FNM Haitian payment campaign voters. They tell them, look here, vote for my boy. They will put you back into power.
I see.
Yes, that's all I can say, sir.
I appreciate your call. Now, we've heard that kind of talk before. We suspect that some of it is true. But anyone who does that kind of a thing to make citizens for votes, that's not good at all. They're not real, they're traitors. That's what that means. They betray the Bahamas too, if that's what they do. I don't know anybody personally who has done that, but I've heard this talk, and you've heard this over the years, and we have this suspicion that some of that does in fact happen. But it's not supposed to happen. And if it has happened in the past, now it is out of control, isn't it? Isn't it? I tell you today, the Immigration Department is busy in the islands. Big boats coming in, small boats coming in with illegals. We ain't got no money. We on our own. CARICOM don't check. The Prime Minister is now the chairman of that, but that doesn't seem to be anything big on the agenda. Maybe he knows more than we do that CARICOM ain't checking for that, and that is no big deal. We have to deal with this ourselves. But how are we dealing with it? And we could deal with this in a way where there could be coexistence, But based on the attitudes of what we are seeing, it doesn't seem as if coexistence is now on the table. It seems like something else is on the table. All or nothing. Well, I can only tell you. I can only tell you from an insightful point of view, without compromising national security, I can only tell you. We have a serious, vexing problem of illegals. We have a series of problems in this country where they're on the ground and they're benefiting in every which way, sometimes to the detriment or to the disadvantage of native Bahamians. We know the story. The question is, what do we do? Can you tell me? It's not good to say, well, put them on boat. No. See, that's almost emotive. What do we really do to deal with a systematic problem now that we have that seems to be growing out of proportion to a level where it's almost uncontrollable? What do we do? Hard Copy, how are you?
Good evening, Mr. McKinney.
Sir.
How are you, sir? Mr. Reconciler.
Yeah.
Mr. McKinney, as I listened to your discourse with the lady yesterday, I say, boy, this is what it is. And Mr. McKinney, I am saying right now that that is what it is. You're talking about
it's
stupid,
the real
right?
it's the real situation.
Yeah.
And we have been knowing this for a long time, but as I said, this is on us. This stupid is as stupid does. That's really on us, you know.
Yes, of course, because we sell out for a mess of pottage, selling our birthright for a few dollars, a fistful of dollars. And the thing is, Mr. McKinney, you know, Article 7 keep ringing in my mind. They call them the fathers of the Constitution and the framers of the Constitution. I respect that, all right? Mm-hmm. But let's look at it a bit closer. Why did they leave that big gaping blue hole there? I don't even call it a loophole, a blue hole. Mm-hmm. These are educated men. Most of them were lawyers, all right? So in my mind, it was intentional, that Article 7. You used the term that they wanted to say, we need more people. And I've heard that many times. First, it didn't make sense to me, but now it makes all kind of sense because it is true. Okay? There is a plan to annex this country. Matter of fact, it's in progress. We talk about the fifth column. The fifth column is always here. It's just ready to go. But Mr. McKinney, we need strong leadership, which we do now. Successive prime ministers, the leaders, have been too weak, all right, to deal with the problem. And when someone like a Mr. Roker, Mr. McCartney, and this one or next one, Mr. Mitchell, is striving to deal with the problem, they are cut down by the knees for the most part because of the other intention of these people, mainly political intentions. All right, so Mr. McKinney, our prime minister, Mr. Christie, the man needs to man up and strengthen himself and be a man and do his job as a leader. Okay? Every time Mr. Martelly comes to this country, whether it's under Ingram or Christie, all right, he have good, like the best of friends. What is going on in this country? We don't know what's happening. We never know when he came. Just know when he arrived, especially the Joe Biden wrote the last time he was there. I say, Brother McKinney, the people of the Bahamas need to take a stand. Have a good day.
When Martelly was here, Martelly told Christie, see this, you know, I hate being the one who have to keep the record to remind you all because, as I told you, when the Right Honorable Prime Minister Hubert Ingham was in place, he reminded you of all of his accomplishments. Every day, we did this, we did that. There was a reason for that because they know, they're not dumb. They know, right, that we can't remember nothing. We're an oral society. We don't read. We oral. We talk and, you know, you remember, oh, yeah, we oral society. But let me remind you of something here. Every time Martelly came, and when he came the last time, the Haitian president, you know what he said to Christie? He said, why you wasting money on buying boat to protect borders? Take money and give to Haiti. Maybe they don't come. You remember that? Well, I remember it. See, what am I saying? Stupid is as stupid does. We don't want to recall these things. We want to be in a mindset of denial. Man, I mean nothing. Yeah, you're jokey. You ever met a jokey fella? Have you ever met a jokey fella? A jokey fella's a fella you can't take him serious. He's jokey. He says something very sober and serious, and then he does the opposite in a very foolish and funny way. He's jokey. Do we have a jokey government? Do we have jokey politicians? You see, if Minnis, who is now under plenty pressure in his neck of the woods because it looks like once Frank Watson has surfaced, when you see Frank Watson surface, he is the announcer for the one to come behind him. When you see Frank Watson asserts himself in the newspapers and say, you know, hey, we looking at Minnis, he ain't look like he ready. that's the beginning for the other guy to assert himself. But that's politics. Put it aside for now. Just make an example. But you see, Minnis is being ridiculed, and rightly so. Minnis has not asserted himself as a reformist, a leader who has come to reform, to fix things. He's wasting his time with all these nuances about other stuff that don't really make any sense. Pursuing this thing about who should come to the commission to listen. Minnis ought to be about setting the agenda if he wants someone to look at them as to what his plans are for the biggest problems that are killing us. Illegal immigration. Priority number one. Bad economy and crime. Minnis ain't focus on them things. Minnis is receiving baskets from Danny Johnson, which is the dumbest political move I've ever seen. Danny not making joke on him. They say, here's your survival baskets from Carnival after the Carnival. Keep them in the House of Assembly. Front page. Big picture. Stupid is, stupid does. It has no bearing on anything. Except the jokes on Minnis. I was disappointed to see it. Felt bad about it. But you see, an unfocused potential government that sits in opposition, an unfocused group, will bring us more burden because we are obviously stuck with what we got. Very serious. Where's your policy on immigration? Where are your announcements? Where's your what are you doing about this? Where's your involvement? Where are you? But I suppose, based upon what I've seen from the traces of history, all annum in one boat when it comes to the immigration problem. All annum are in the same boat, marching to the same tune, beating the same drum, doing the same stuff. Well, we're not impressed as the Bahamians. The Bahamians now are sick and tired of this kind of thing. Do something to bring this country about. So you see, this is not about trying to look at, beat up the PLP, or if you want to think petty like politics. No, this is about if there's opposition, if there is another group that can come and say, you know, we want to look at this thing and we have reform along these lines. This is what we think. And then make suggestions even to this particular government who may be totally out to lunch and don't even know what to do. Nothing. Yet the boats continue to come in. Yet, my friends, we are inundated and overwhelmed by all these people. And you know why they're coming with great movement? You can call this the flight of those who are looking for a new country. You know why that's happening? Because somebody is propagandizing this thing about the belongers permit. Just get in the damn country, you can get straight. That's why so many children are coming. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about this earlier, and when the lady called about this misinformation, in 1825, the Haitian government had to pay reparations to France for French interest being destroyed during the slave uprising. Just a point of history. But getting back to what I'm saying, what do we do? Friends, we have a dilemma. I'm not so interested in having a row or confrontation with my Haitian brothers and sisters from down south. The lady say, I don't like Haitian. That's not true. I love it like all people, like anybody else. But attitudes among some would make you not want to associate. But it doesn't mean that I don't have Christian love. Of course I do. If they know the many things that I argue every day in trying to assist as many as I can, people in general. So don't bring the argument down to some petty. Look at the country, this Bahamas that God gave us to handle. You know what God did to people who didn't handle the talents? You know the story of the parables, the seeds, the talents. You know exactly what happened. Those who got more, a lot was required of them. They came and made the investment with their talents, and they came back to the master. The master gave them the most, and blessings and everything else. You know why? Because they were good caretakers. That's the story. Those who had little, they went and they hid it in the sand because they were scared that the master's going to demand accountability and transparency when he returns. The Bahamian people are right now deciding that we want accountability and transparency. And that slothful servant who did not utilize his talent, well, he was no more. The bottom line is that he was nothing. Nobody's checking for him. He was tossed. And what he had was taken from him and given to those who did something with it. Well, God gave us a country to run. This our little piece of the rock. This is what we are in charge of. Well, if we don't want to take charge of it, then some other people will take charge of it. And the way that we look, we don't look like we want to take charge of it. So it's a big problem. It's bigger than any petty politics between PLP and F&M. It is the country. It's the sovereignty of a nation. And it appears that these fellows who are now on the scene have not a clue. We are caught up in petty arguments that means nothing, friends. Because at the end of the day, we can drink a glass of wine, hug each other, and resolve those little petty differences. But when you look at a country that is being invaded, whether you want to use that word or not, friends, by others, they have not been invited here, but they're coming. When you look at that, you've got to understand something. Something has got to be done about it, something real. I don't know how else to tell you that. I can only tell you, stupid is as stupid does. Pick it to pieces. Let's run to the lines. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you? Stay on the lines. Hard copy, how are you?
Good day, Mr. McKinney. How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
I'm good, sir. This is the first-time caller. My name is Glenn Ryan Mills, and I wanted to tell you I enjoy your show, and I pray that the Lord keep you, Mr. McKinney, because you are truly the voice of this nation. The next thing I want to say is that I lost my faith in the government a long time ago when Perry Christie himself, with the referendum pertaining to the gambling. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Yes.
Okay, pertaining to the gambling, when the Bahamian people voted no, and he still came behind Mr. McKinney and held another one, which resulted in them being open in today. My point is, how can we have a government as a leader and who is weak, who cannot stand up and be a man and protect this country that God has given us, Mr. McKinney?
Yeah,
Mr. McKinney, my heart is full because I look on the streets and I see people on the streets, McKinney. They call them Joneses, but you know what I see, Mr. McKinney? I see Bahamian young men. I don't see no Haitian on the streets, Mr. McKinney, as the Joneses. I don't see no Chinese. It's only Bahamian. I look in the prison. You have people who have committed crimes in this country sitting up eating, and people who are evicted out of their homes are sitting on the streets. You have illegal immigrants coming in our country. Mr. McKinney, it's me and you working together, and you are filling up a hole. And I punch a hole on the other side. Mr. McKinney, I'm not working with you.
Yeah, I'm working against you.
That's right. I'm working against you. So how can you come in my country and say you want to be me? I'm not telling you to relinquish what you are and who you are, but respect my country. And the last part I want to say, I don't know if it's true, and I want you to help me with this, where they was dragging our flag.
Yes, that happened in the past. Not this last time. I didn't see that. There were no reports of that this last Flag Day. But I'm saying, in all of these Flag Days, it has been littered with problems over the time that they've been doing it. And I believe that the authorities know of it to the point where it was an egregious act, from burning to dragging it. I mean, you don't do that in a sovereign country. I mean, come on now, let's be real. But you see, that's something that's provocative. If somebody do that, they're trying to provoke you. Why would you want to provoke a people You could only want that because you want confrontation.
Yes. And another thing, Mr. McKinney, I listen to the ideas also by the Bahamian people daily. And Mr. McKinney, I can tell you they are some genuine ideas. But what is stopping the leaders from taking them is because what, like the caller said, I heard earlier, skeletons in their closet. We do not know what they're doing actually, but they cannot do for the Bahamian people because of the deals that they have already made.
Compromise.
Government do not seek the Lord God who gave us this country for themselves. They cannot lead us. And until the people see that, until we put people there who have God first and not money and other things before people, we will not be a successful country. Good day, Mr. McKinney.
Well said. Thank you very much. Well said. Well said. Hard copy. How are you?
Yes, sir. How are you, Mr. McKinney?
Yes, sir. I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. You know, I feel that the government got swing when they gave this belongers permit. I would think that belongers permit would be a thing for children of Bahamians born outside of the country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You see, that's the way it is in Texas Island.
Yeah.
You know, and Texas Island have the same problem as the Bahamas. You know, it's even worse. Texas Islanders are outnumbered by the Haitians.
We are too. We just didn't want to admit it.
Right. You see, and you know what it is? It's the businessman who see all these people coming in the store, and you know, and the people who build these apartments, which should have been guest house for tourists. You see, it's them. You know. You see, and they seems that they have no compassion for the masses.
Yeah. Well, you know, something has got to give.
Suffering, so.
Something has got to give. We pray God that something good gives. I appreciate your call.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah. 325-023546. You can tell me. I mean, you know, my thing today is that it's on us. It's not really on them. It is our country. We have the responsibility. If you have the authority, you have to exercise the responsibility. He who wants authority must first exercise responsibility. You have the authority and you're sitting there. This is not on them. This is on us. If we can't protect ourselves, if we can't protect our own home, as I gave you the scenario yesterday, fella coming to your house uninvited, you ain't know him, you walk right in, go in your fridge, eat your ham and turkey, eat all your fruits, drink all your whatever you got in there, your water and everything else. Then he sit down and asks you, what you looking at him for? And you say, but you don't live here. I don't know who you is. And you say, man, I ain't checking for you. Then he pull his flag out of his back pocket and say, you see that picture over there? Put this flag right over there. Flags mean conquer. Let me say that again. I think I went that too fast. I don't think you got me. Flags mean conquer. That's street talk. That's too heavy for them fellas who been to university and don't understand English. When the Americans went to the moon, they put the flag on the moon. That's what a flag is. My territory. Those who are coming, pretty brand new flags. They want to plant it. When America planned the flag on the moon, you know what they was thinking? We conquer this. This is our territory. We've been here first. We have some say. Now I know the moon and Earth is far between, but the scenario that I'm giving you is the essence of flag. Flags are very important. It's symbol. It's a symbol. It's a symbol of who we are and what we do and where we are. So when people want to bring another flag into a sovereign country and establish a flag day in the name of this foolish propaganda that the world celebrates with them, nonsense. Propaganda. Propaganda. Marcus Garvey once said, you know, let no man bluff you. Don't let no man call you a bluff. Ain't true. Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Fort Charlotte. How are you?
Fort Charlotte is in good shape. Steve McKinney is fine.
So, tell me who gave them the authority to have the Flag Day?
That's what I'm saying. They had to have had some permission to have a area designated for and a day set aside. And that's why I said it is not on them. I'm not saying anything to the Haitian National today. I'm saying stupid is as stupid does.
But they had what?
I say the onus is on us.
All right.
Yeah, well, my point is this. 2 wrongs don't make 1 right.
Okay.
One jail don't make no prison.
But I got a bone to pick with you.
Well, go ahead and pick your bone as far as you want.
Why did you allow that lady to run on with foolishness yesterday?
Because I'm fair. I'm a fair fella. I believe in people expressing themselves. I'm not offended by what she said, you know. What she said was good information for you to understand the mindset.
Make us look like a fool.
No, she ain't make me look like no fool, and I'm sure she ain't make you look like no fool. She said what she said because that's how she feels. And there are more like her who feel the same way. So you might as well get used to it. People have a right to speak on my show. If you're legal or illegal, you could call my show. Because you got a cell phone.
Get up and speak our mind and let them know how we feel.
Well, you're doing that now. You can speak what you want to. The fact of the matter is that I run a radio talk show. I invite the public to call me. The public out there, some are legal, some are illegal. Illegal people call me all the time. I don't know who they are, but I'm sure they do. But the fact of the matter is that
was upset with that.
Well, I know people are upset with it. I got a lot of text messages about it. I had taxi drivers passing by me all day long. People stopping me in the road and say, you was too easy on her. Well, you know, people think that about a lot of things. The point is this. I'm not going to be disrespectful to any caller.
Posting that she's a has Haitian heritage and she's posting about it in the Bahamas.
And she says that she's a Bahamian, but
right.
The blood, she said, the blood is strong. The blood is strong. Now, listen, I mean, you know, that's all right to say. That's fine.
We don't buckle up. One morning we wake up, everything could be Creole, and we don't know what the hell they can be saying.
Well, talking about that, I'm reminded. Thank you for your call, dear. Thank you, but I'm reminded about Myles Munroe talking about this whole thing about how I think this assimilation before granting citizenship is a good soundbite that you ought to be reminded of. Because you see, the trouble is, I was making the point yesterday that how and why would you want to have another flag if you've already sworn allegiance to our flag to get our citizenship? But I'm telling you, people don't know what Article 7 really says. Article 7 goes beyond the paragraphs that talks about who has a right to apply for citizenship if he is born in this country to non-citizens. That's all we want to read. There are other parts of that that talks about renouncing your country, swearing allegiance to our flag, taking on and making the oath to do as we do in the Bahamas as a new Bahamian. But the people who are there with their flag, they have it both ways, which is dangerous. They have your citizenship, they have your passport because they say we's Bahamian. And then they have their own heritage that they celebrate and they cater to and separate themselves from the Bahamian flag, which they sworn allegiance to. And for all intents and purposes, they're chameleons. They, when they want to be Bahamian, they have their passport. When they want to be something else, they have their flag. And no man can serve 2 masters. That's what I'm trying to say. So when you see the late Dr. Myles Munroe emphasize to the government of the Bahamas before his death, his untimely death, in my opinion, when Myles Munroe was talking to them about citizenship, and by the way, today, you know, there's a headline in the newspaper with Sean McQueenie saying gender equality referendum appears set for another delay. You see, it was around the same time that they were pushing that agenda that Myles Munroe told them some stuff that they had to do. He had meetings with them. I know of them because he came here. We did a whole series together. Now, Myles Munroe at the time was saying, assimilation before granting of citizenship. It's a key proponent in how you build a country, for real. Let me just remind you of that so that you can understand how egregious this thing is that we talk about when some other people want to say Flag Day and the rest of the Bahamians can go to hell. They ain't checking, as the lady said. assimilation before citizenship. In other words, if you ain't speaking our language, if you ain't acting and behaving like us, if you don't really swear the allegiance to our flag, you ought not to get any citizenship. Here's Dr. Miles Monroe.
If you want to get a permanent residence in America, they say, okay, you can stay a certain amount of years. If you want a green card, in other words, what they're doing is they are inculcating you in the culture.
Right.
And if you're really serious, you want to become a citizen, they say, hey, they actually tell you can't travel for a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. They lock you in the country. And if you travel, they say you break the contract, you start over again.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're keeping you in the environment to make sure you learn the culture and the ideals of this country before they allow you to even consider citizenship opportunities. The Bahamas has not done that. We you know, the most important part of my recommendation would be this I'm going to invent a word, the citizenization of the individual. You know, that's a new word. Citizenization means the same way we socialize a person, we got to citizenize a person so that they understand that if you become a citizen, then that pledge of allegiance we just recommended becomes your life.
That's
real. I have no other country to go to. How many times have you said that? You've said that?
Yeah.
Do everyone say that who live here?
No.
See, that's the problem. I have no other country. I have no other flag. I have no other constitution. I have no other culture. I'm a Bahamian. Everyone who wants to be a citizen must have that same spirit. Otherwise, we could end up with another Ukraine, where you got people who are part of you as far as a collective agreement.
On one land mass, too.
One land mass, but not part
allegiance.
of you custom-wise, culture-wise, and even language-wise. You end up with problems.
Need I say anything else to you? I can close the show right then. That's the gist of the whole matter. That's the essence of the whole matter. Wisdom from the late Dr. Miles Monroe, spoken on this show, on this matter. Why would you want to have a citizen in this country flying another flag? And why would a government sit back and encourage such a foolish thing? It could only be two answers to that. Well, three. They scared, they don't care, or they are conspirators. Hard copy, how are you?
Steve, my brother, how are you?
I'm in good shape, thank God.
Good. This is your good friend John calling. As you know, I don't miss the show.
Hi, John.
And as you know, Wednesday is a special day for me. Again, I listen to you carrying the torch, Steve. 2 quick points. And I guess it was fated that I would call it after you paid Dr. Miles' comments.
Well, I know you were one of his favorite sons.
Yeah.
This is John Bostwick I'm talking to, friend.
Very much so. And you and I still suffering over the great loss together, but you and
Absolutely.
I know we were given some instructions.
Cried even unto today. Even today, I went home for lunch and I remember Doc, and I'm still, anyway, but God is good and everything God does is great.
Yes. And those of us who were given instructions and we are still here to fight, we must fight. And Steve, you are definitely carrying out your mandate, and you're definitely holding your line. And be certain to know that help is not far away, and that there are those of us who know what we have to do. I don't want to get too distracted with that because I didn't expect to hear Mr. Pastor Monroe while I was waiting on hold. And that could make me want to say quite a few more things than I originally intended to say listening to that. But just on what Pastor Miles said just now, the Bahamianization, the making persons assimilate to your culture, it is a must. You can't become a citizen of the U.S. Without knowing U.S. history and very fine lines of U.S. history, without being able to communicate in English. These are the type of things that we must make mandatory before a person is able to say that they are a citizen of the Bahamas. But what I call, Steve, is pointedly Article 7. And I don't know if people are grasping the import of what you're trying to convey with regard to Article 7. And two things on Article 7. The first thing is I feel that Article 7 does need to be amended, Steve.
I know. We tried to lobby for that just recently.
Yes, we've spoken about this before.
And I think Article 7 needs to be amended to insert the word legal, legally. Those persons who are born in the Bahamas to persons of legal status who themselves can claim some legal status on their birth should have a right to apply for citizenship.
This is very important with the belongers idea. This is going to be very important with this idea of the belongers permit, you know.
Most serious situation. And Steve, that inclusion of that word clarifies a lot and would take away a lot of some of the angst that we are feeling. How could you correct? We seem to be in the habit in the Bahamas as of late of correcting blatantly legal actions by simply making them legal. Okay?
Yeah.
Gaming, we've decided, okay, we're going to just make it legal.
Yeah. You can't take something that's illegal and just make it legal.
Just make it legal. I don't know what else we're going to just decide to retrospectively make legal that is illegal. And that don't work for me. I think we need to be very clear and state very soundly that persons who are born illegally in this country are not automatically entitled to a rectification of their illegal status.
Well, I say it every day.
If you are born in this country legally, then you should have the right to apply for citizenship on achieving 18. That is my humble opinion, Steve. And as you know, you and I have talked about this with regard to the marital status. I would rather give up my so-called right to convey my citizenship as a man to to women. So I would rather all Bahamians be in a position where there is no automatic right of citizenship on marriage.
Absolutely.
I would rather that be the case than to say extend it to all Bahamians, that any Bahamian marrying any foreign national would have an automatic right.
We are walking down a dangerous road, John.
I would rather the reverse. But the final point on Article 7, Steve, is this requirement of renunciation.
Yes.
This is very important because at the end of the day, this discussion today that you're having is very much about Haitian nationals. And one of the issues with the Haitian nationals is very unique with them and Frenchmen. They are not in a position due to their constitution to renounce. Okay? So how can you claim my citizenship if you are not able by your constitution to renounce yours?
Absolutely, because you're once a Haitian, always a Haitian, recognized by the Constitution of Haiti as a Haitian.
As a Haitian, and born to Haitian mother or father anywhere in the known universe, you are Haitian.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I would suggest, with the greatest respect, that before Magali and others come to my country suggesting and in some cases attempting to dictate our national policy, come our immigration policy, come our foreign policy, that if we are to even consider nationalizing these people, giving them our citizenship, there needs to be amendments done to the Haitian Constitution first. Where the Haitians, if they want us to be in a position to accept these people under any condition, that these people must be first allowed to renounce their Haitian citizenship, i.e. change your constitution, take the beam out your eye before you start to dare to criticize me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? So, Steve, I had to call with that, and I look so very much forward to spending my Wednesday evenings with you again.
I appreciate it. I look forward to it.
Time soon come. My brother, hold the line, and my prayers and my concerns and thoughts are constantly with you.
Well, listen, your chair is here, your mic is here, your cup, your favorite cup for your coffee is here, your water is here, your candies are here, and the conversation we await as a nation. I appreciate it, John Bostwick.
Thank you, my brother. You take care.
All the best. 325-0235 or 6 is how you call me today. This is Hard Copy. We are on a very serious issue today. And as I said earlier at the beginning of my show, we are in a precarious position, a serious predicament. And certainly, I want to remind those persons who are listening across the length and breadth of the Bahamas, across the world, on TuneIn Radio, wherever you are today. The bottom line is this, that the honors are on us. The honors on us. We have to do better as a people in the country. While the subject is about those persons from down south who in many cases are running because they're looking for better, we've got to get some things right, some technical things right, as John Bostwick said, and we've got to have the willpower to do so. Until then, we are like a hamster, spinning wheels, running in circles. Stupid is as stupid does. When are we going to understand that we've got some serious things to do? This ain't got nothing to do with them. Not really. What we need to do, we've got to get it together. 325-023546. I want to run to a break. Can I do that? Let me pay the bill. When I come back here, we talk more today. There's so much that we have to share and so little time that we must do it in. But we have to enforce the laws on citizenship. And we already told you yesterday that we will destroy a nation by different languages. How about when we come back, we talk about what defines a nation? These things are important because it seems like we get mixed right up. We don't even know what we're doing. We're back in a minute on Hard Copy.
Do you feel trapped and unable to move because of debt? Are you trying to meet your monthly obligations but still falling behind? Then what you need is a fresh start. BOB's Fresh Start Debt Consolidation Loan will combine your existing debts into one easy monthly payment, restoring your financial freedom and getting you back on track with a built-in savings plan. Talk to us today about your BOB Fresh Start Debt Consolidation Loan. BOB, your bank of solutions.
They've tried everything under the sun. Union-busting tactics, withholding hard-earned wages of hotel workers, unethical behavior in the workplace, blatant dismissals, unnecessary court proceedings, and a whole lot more. But Nicole Martin and the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union remain steadfast, unfazed, determined in their resolve to work hard for the membership, and still the A-Team is standing strong. This May 27, send a message. Show them all that the Hotel Workers Union is here to stay. Stand strong. Vote the A-Team.
'Cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone.
This year, don't be caught singing the Christmas blues. Start saving now with your own BOB Christmas Club account. Sign up before June 30th with just $20. Earn high interest and have guaranteed spending money in time for Christmas. Don't be left in a bind this year. Let BOB's Christmas Club account work for you. Sign up today at your nearest BOB branch. BOB, your bank of solutions.
When Steve talks, people listen. People listen. People listen.
Welcome back. This is Hard Copy. I take your calls. It's not a priority. Let's go to the lines. Hard Copy, how are you?
Hey, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir. I'm listening.
All right. I'm a young Bahamian, about 4 generations in the country. I think that I feel as though the problem with Haitians we have today is something that we brought about ourselves.
Well, I believe that, yes.
If we don't employ the people, they have no place, they have nowhere to eat. So I feel as though we caused the problem on ourselves. Now we are overwhelmed by the amount of Haitians we have. Now we are upset.
Yeah.
It's time for Bahamians to take responsibility.
Absolutely.
For actions.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I said, stupid is as stupid does. I mean, we know what the problems are. We know that we've been the purveyors of these many problems and been perpetrating this fraud for so many decades. We've got to stop in our tracks and get it together.
Get it together.
But we're not interested in that because, you see, it's sweet. We are going to exploit people. We are going to exploit them for what is politically expedient and all kinds of other things. All kind of ungodly reasons, too. Unspeakable things why we have so many people here who don't belong.
I was speaking to a gentleman from Long Island, and he told me that there's one Haitian on Long Island.
That's true.
If everybody in the Bahamas would take upon that same mentality, we wouldn't have a problem with Haitians.
Yeah, well.
But there's some form of corruption in the line. And we are taking bribes left, right, and center.
And now we are left with a problem. Overpopulation. Our goes out of control. The mud, the pigeon bee. And now we're angry and upset. But we brought them here. The Bahamas is called the Bahamas for one reason only. Shallow waters. Hard to traverse.
Yeah.
It's unlikely a Haitian found his way to the Bahamas by himself. Unlikely. There's a lot of reefs, a lot of shores. That's why the pirates like the Bahamas. So I feel as though we as Bahamians have to take responsibility for our actions for years. And this is just what we have right now.
I appreciate your call.
All right, then, Mr. Steele.
Thank you very much. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Steve. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Tell that young man, don't despair. The Lord is still in control and on the throne. And I'm one of those persons who's praying for this nation. But Steve, you know, it's so amazing how you're the only talk show host who seem to address this problem at length. I don't think Bahamians realize the severity of the situation with our good people from down south. I am actually a person, I live in the Western District. I've actually stopped shopping with a particular food store, and maybe you need to do some checking on that. When you go into that particular Bahamian chain food store, everyone is Creole. And why I stopped shopping, not that I am prejudiced towards anyone, but I find that these people seem to not be properly socialized, which means they don't know how to deal with the public. They're very rude. Their body language is atrocious when they're serving you. And I had gotten into some snares with a few of them. And I observed that everybody, I wouldn't say everyone, but at least 90% of the persons working in this food store chain in the Western District are of that descent. And what offends me is when you're in the store, they're speaking in the Creole language. And it seems as though they bring this Creole language up when they want to be rude. If they want to speak to you in a derogatory way or be rude towards you, then kicks in their Creole language. Now, maybe the owner of that food store chain doesn't mind losing me as a customer because I only spend an average of about $600 a month in there, okay? Like $140 every week. I spend in that store. And I've decided I'm not going back in there until they address that problem. You need to have people who are properly socialized coming into these communities where you have people who are intelligent and properly socialized. And it's a problem. 90% of the cashiers are of Haitian descent. The people working on the shelf, those cleaning the floors, those in the butcher area, all seem to be of Haitian descent. Something needs to be addressed considering Bahamians are complaining about being unemployed. And I had a serious problem with that. And I think it needs to be addressed. Maybe you need to investigate that. I don't want to call the name of the store, but I think you pretty much know what I'm talking about.
I got you loud and clear.
And I'm sick and tired of it. And like I said, because of that, I've decided I'm not going to shop in there anymore until they address that problem. Because those people are not properly socialized. And I noticed quite a number of them because when I would go shopping, I tried to engage them. I tried to bear with it for a while. Because I figured, okay, well, maybe they're just not properly socialized. So I tried to help to socialize them. But I recognize that's not my job to continue doing that. Put my folks in there who could speak English and who knows what I'm saying. And who would take heed to what I'm saying to them in terms of addressing their attitudes. But those people have poor attitudes, they're poorly socialized, and they seem to have a chip on their shoulder.
I appreciate what you're saying. I think a lot of Bahamians understand, and a lot of residents understand what you're saying. I want to thank you for your call.
And I want you to keep up the good works. Like I say, there's a God above, and evil can only prevail for but a season. And when God gets tired of it, he will bring his wrath down. I want you to see it's starting to break through because the present minister of Foreign Affairs, you notice he has started to take a proactive role in trying to address the problem. This has never happened before since the Loftus Roca era. And so I just want to say kudos to Mr. What's his name?
Fred Mitchell.
Mitchell, yes. Okay, and I want him to know that there are Bahamians on his side. And I know the extent of the danger as a spiritual person. This is not just a carnal thing. This is a spiritual war going on in this country with these people.
I appreciate it.
Okay, have a good day.
All the best to you. She'd been saying something that's quite interesting. You know, there appears to be questionable governance in our immigration woes. Questionable governance. Hear me now. As a country, we do not appear to be serious. Our actions are inconsistent with what we say. people see that and they take advantage of it. It appears we have and are looking to one man when immigration is a matter for the cabinet of the Bahamas. Collective responsibility. Even some cabinet ministers seem to have this notion that immigration is a matter for Fred Mitchell and Mitchell alone. Thank God the Bahamian people support him and have been bigging him up, and he's been able to go through the United Nations after we got all kinds of attacks from others who want to do as they want to do in our country, and he was able to declare to the human rights people internationally that there is universal support for his policies or the government's policies on the new move from November of last year, 2014. But the country cannot leave national security matters to Fred Mitchell alone. The way in which we have been behaving as a country could really leave one to think and imagine and even suggest that we are simply playing a PR game on pretending to do something, but in our hearts, we're not really into it. And this is the case. If this is the case, then what are we confirming is a blatant display of fraud. It's us. It's on us. Stupid is as stupid does. We appear to be acting out for a special audience somewhere else in the world. The United Nations tell us to spend monies on all of the inconveniences of illegals coming into the country, but they give us no money to combat the vexing problems and the associated problems of this matter. We are taking monies that we cannot afford to spend on the others. Even the Bible says charity begins at home. Are we showing charity to our own fellow Bahamians? They seem to be neglected, ignored. We're taking monies that we can least afford to spend on other people because we don't have the power, the willpower, the courage to do what is honorable, honest, and right. God ain't gonna be mad with us. He gave us the Bahamas. And while we share it with those who want to be Bahamian and Bahamian at heart, as I say in my preamble every day, that's what this show is about. I say this to you every day. This show, Hard Copy, is what? Hard Copy is a show that seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. Let me just give you a little secret. When I was writing the mandate and the print and the whole intro for Hard Copy almost 10 years ago, I never changed it. You hear me say that every day. People think that's a recording. I say that live every day. But when I was writing that, I was in prayer. I asked the Lord to give me the right words to put on paper and to say every day what we are really all about in building our country. And that's what he gave me. That Hard Copy really seeks. We seek nothing else. We seek to lay out the facts in a simple way so that all can get it. For all to be included. For all Bahamians and the Bahamians at heart. Are you a Bahamian at heart when you want to raise your flag and burn ours and have your flag day in a sovereign country? That is not Bahamian at heart. This is a very serious thing. But anyway. Hard Copy, how are you?
Oh, hi. Good evening, Mr. McKinney.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Yeah, listen, that last caller, that lady who just called a while ago, I can empathize with her. I know of that experience, what she's speaking of. I know that food store chain, too, because as a matter of fact, I was in there one time, and I was trying to find a product, an item, and I asked one of the shelf persons for the item, and I think what it was, mayonnaise. And I spoke to him. I said, could you tell me which aisle has mayonnaise? And he's like, mama, blah, blah. He's mumbled something in Creole. I said, no, excuse me, I don't speak Creole. And I asked him again for the item. And he went off again in Creole, mama, blah, blah, or whatever. So I said, oh, excuse me. And then he laughed and he said, man, we taking over. And he walked off. He never addressed the mayonnaise issue. So I just looked for it myself, but it taught me something. But as usual, like I said, your topics are timely, and this subject is extremely important, so we really have to stay on it, and I think that you're doing a very good job. But it's also interesting to note, when you had played the clip about the lady who called yesterday,
right,
you notice she also said in that clip, oh, we plan to do something or contribute something educational for next year.
Yeah.
This year. Next year. Now, the Haitian populace has been coming to this country for over almost 300 years, even before our independence. And she's just thinking now that next year they should do something to show that they appreciate all the burdens that we've had dealing with them.
Well, actually, she was saying that they're going to do a display of education to show how much Haiti has built the Bahamas. That's what she's really saying. That's what I gleaned from it.
Oh, my God, that's even more slap in our face.
Well,
and then, what also came to mind in terms of, the mindset of them, they're all together in one mindset, like you said, one thought. Because I don't know if you recall, when that show used to come on, the Haitian Bahamian Connection with Ruby Georges. Initially, the idea of that program was to discuss ways in which we connect.
To harmonize.
To harmonize.
Yeah,
religiously,
it should have been a show like that. Yeah.
I guess, and in other ways, a cultural connection, so to speak. But, even though religious-wise, I mean, we know 60 to 70% of the belief is voodoo. We don't have that there. Here in the Bahamas, our preamble is Christianity, no other religion. That's in the preamble of our Constitution. And, they also believe in, one time I think they had it in the papers too, where they had this voodoo celebration. It was in our paper last year when, the person is worshiping the Dolores, priestess to the springs, all sorts of things that we are not familiar with, what we don't condone, what we're not all about. And food-wise, I mean, I know, like that we did do trade with them, years and years ago. But today that, there's no way that we want to connect food because you're not sure of the proper food inspections that's going to be carried out on their part before you import something here.
Yeah. I appreciate what you're saying. I want to thank you for your call. Thank you very much for your considerations that we are trying our best to bring light to the matter, and hopefully we can get this thing expedited where we can see improvement in what we are doing. But just a couple of points of interest. So in the spirit of fair play and honest journalism, the whole idea of voodoo that's been celebrated in Haiti as a part of the religious groupings, recently they just made that an official part of it. That's what I think you were referring to. But for the most part, a lot of Haitian nationals are Catholics. They do practice Catholicism, and that is a fact. That is a fact. That is the dominant religious belief. Denominational is Catholic, but there is a fair share of the voodoo that has now been put onto the table as an official part of the religious act, if you will. The other thing is that when it comes to food items, I would have you know that a lot of the food that you buy now in the food stores, bar none, mangoes and stuff like that, grown in Haiti. What happens is that the Americans have gone down to Haiti for some time, and they have gotten all this area of planting stuff and financing those things, and the food goes to America for the proper inspection, and then America, who buys most of those things, would release them to other countries. But they grow a lot of stuff in Haiti. Haiti can grow a lot of things, and there are many people who want to work and grow things in Haiti. That was an idea that some people here had in Bahamas to see if they can. In fact, the present ambassador to Washington Dr. Nuri, had been a very big advocate of doing something along those lines from the Bahamas when he sat here and was also the ambassador of Haiti. He had been saying how we ought to invest monies in land and things like that to help the people down there and profit from it by buying plots of land and growing things for the U.S. market, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people balked at it because there's a lot of bad notion about the Haitian diaspora. It's a lot of bad notion and that's ignorance, really. Haiti is a big place that can do a number of things. The economy has been broken. The government and politics has not been stable in many, many years. And the people are not dedicated to the growth of that country. If they were, they would stay home and try to rebuild it. But the truth is they are so poor when it comes to, the majority of them so poor. Though Port-au-Prince and many millionaires exist, a lot of them exist in their own neck of the woods, in their own existence, in their own enclaves, as we would say. But the development of other parts of this big place named Haiti is not happening. And a lot of people speculate as to why that is, that they are bad people, or cursed people, or broken people, all kinds of stuff. And so they continue to migrate. The trouble is they're migrating to the Bahamas for the most part. And that is not a good thing for us because we can't afford it. So I only wanted to tell you that so you can understand that there must be a lot of reading that has to happen in understanding who these people are, what their history has been. As I told you earlier, theirs has been a history of great bloodshed, great violence. Seriously, that's not me, that's the history. That is how it's been. Great takeovers, coup d'etat. A great number of overthrows. That's why they've been not stable, politically speaking. And they've made a lot of bad choices in people who they've elected to lead them. Just like us, we've made a lot of bad choices. But I suppose you don't see that as amplified as theirs because somehow we are able to do some things to fool our people in a better way, get them divided on this whole thing of what we would call tribalism now. You're in on this side, we can deal with you when we get in power, that kind of thing. And we're fast becoming just like how they are. That's how they got that way, you know. You didn't support a particular government, they sent the Tonton Nuku for you. And you could get all done in. We can learn from them as to not walk that road. But we must not settle for allowing people into the country undocumented, with their own intentions and ambitions, totally oblivious and uncaring about our law. That must not happen. That's why we say today, it's on us to do what is supposed to be done. It is on us. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Very good, thanks.
Wonderful. One question to you, right? If the humans were to go to Haiti, right? And display the same thing that the Haitians display over here, Flag Day, what do you think would happen?
I think they'd have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. And we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. We should respect the territories of sovereign nations. We should not go places doing things and making advancements. And you see, the difficulty is, as I said yesterday, many countries who are here in the Bahamas, we have all kinds of international bazaars where we have the food day. I mean, we embrace it. This is beautiful. I think it's a wonderful thing. I don't know who came with the concept, but I love it. I think it's great to taste some beer from China, and you know, and we have this whole culinary thing. This is a beautiful thing. But when you look at people who are trying to put themselves in a position of not really looking at the culture and the culinary goods, they're separate. It's their Flag Day, don't come. We ain't interested in you, don't fool with us. That is what the problem is. The problem is not the Greeks have a Greek celebration. I love it. I love to get the gyro. I love to go down there and be a part of it by the Greek Orthodox Church. Everybody else does things. The Jamaican Flag Day. Oh man, listen, not Flag Day, the Jamaicans Independence Day, where they go to the fort and they have their national events and they sell all the food. This is beautiful. I love that. I love that. And I support that. And I feel welcome when I go there as a Bahamian. And Bahamians basically feel welcome by these other nationalities when they go. This other thing seems to be sending a message that, look here, you know what kind of shirts they were wearing? Yes, I am one of them. You know, it is not embracing. It is not harmonious. It is not inviting. And we've got to be sensible about the whole matter. Well, we don't want to be sensible. We want to pretend as if, no, man, and because we are closely knitted through family ties, all that intermingling that we have done over the decades, it is very hard for people to come to terms with a lot of things. But any Bahamian, anybody of Haitian descent, Jamaican descent, Colombian descent, American descent, who is now Bahamian, they ought to act and behave like a Bahamian and abide by the rules of swearing to the flag of a Bahamian. That's all I'm saying. When you want to have two different countries in one country, you're courting disaster.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Here's what Myles Munroe thought about this whole bit in defining a nation. You see, if you're a nation, there must be certain things that you have to do if it's based upon the principles of Almighty God.
We define a nation as a community of people who are committed to a common heritage, language, law, land, jurisprudence, ideals, values, governance submitted to one, hopefully, deity. Nations must understand. I speak now to the Bahamas. I speak nations of immigrants, including the Bahamas. All nations are products of immigrants. That includes America, that includes Mexico, it includes Honduras. The colonization has done that to the world. Secondly, all nations. One of the greatest challenges in Africa and all the countries I've been to is tribalism, this sense of clannishness. But all nations are results of a collection of tribes. Even some of the black people in the Bahamas historically didn't come from the same tribes, but we met in the same piece of rock. Thirdly, all nations are a collection of cultures. All nations. You study any country, it's a collection of different cultures. People bring cultures with them. Culture is in people, it's not in land. Wherever people go, culture comes. Fourthly, all nations are a collection of races. And that includes, of course, the ethnic issues that we deal with. All countries are made of this collection of races. And fifth, all nations are a collection of philosophies. People bring their philosophical perspective of life with them. And finally, all nations are a collection of beliefs. People come together with different beliefs. Now, you can see right away that there's potential for a whole lot of beliefs together to make up a nation. What makes a nation successful, then, is the question. If there's so much diversity in the coming together of peoples, the question is, what makes a nation successful? The answer is not difficult. The answer is unity. If you can unify a people from 1,000 diverse, so the question is, how do you unify diversity?
That's good stuff, right? But you hear what he said? Unity. Do you get the impression that that's where we are in the Bahamas with certain nationalities? I just finished talking about how it's a wonderful thing when all the different nationalities come together for the food fest and the festivals and all that kind. That's great. I think we embrace that. I think that's maturity. I think we're growing. But what do we do with those who are here and are not interested in this whole idea of nation? You give them citizenship, they still laying claim to something else. My favorite caller yesterday says, it's in the blood. It's in the blood. We are Haitian, she says. I'm a Bahamian with Haitian descent or from Haitian descent. And she says, it's in my blood. That's something that we've got to look at too, because maybe that's what the problem is. We have not been properly assimilated to walk like the people who we want to be a part of, or to talk like the people who we want to be a part of. Maybe that's what our problem is. What do you think? Anyway, I've got text messages to read today, and I just want to share one more other thing here with you in our series. And I plan to run the entire series with Dr. Myles Munroe, either between now and early next week. I think it's very important because the things that have been spoken about are right back here again, including this gender equality thing. And I want, in this Haitian migration thing and the problems that we have, I think it may be prudent for me to to go to the archives and pull the show from last year and help you see that series. We did a 2-part or 3-part series with him that may be beneficial to all and sundry, so that we can understand where we're going. But Myles Munroe talked about a couple of things. He talked about defining a nation, destroying nations by different languages, which we let you heard it yesterday, enforcing the laws of citizenship, and assimilation before granting citizenship. He talked about the Constitution stands on migrant children, and he spoke to even radio stations who had been airing these shows that had been causing a lot of problems. He predicted this, He said this was going to cause a major problem. It was like a year later or some months later that the other stations who had been harboring this particular talk show with Louis Georges that seemed to have been more disintegrating or more causing more divisive than bringing people together, they eventually got hip and they chucked the show. They threw it off. But it wasn't after, it was fair warning for Myles Munroe about this whole thing. Now here we are today with the people emboldened by some who thought, or who we had believed initially, meant to be a conciliator, bring people together, and to bring about unity and harmony. But it has to happen with unity. It's not happening thus far. And so we're going to let you hear some of that tomorrow, or later on in the week, or early next week. But I want you to hear this: enforcing the law on citizenship. I think it's important as we bring this to a conclusion today.
I think we are almost there, where we can say, okay, if someone's been here for 30 years, 40 years, whose fault is that? Is it their fault that they were able to stay here? Or is it our fault as a country and a government for allowing them to stay here? I think that's the question. Because it's simple to say the same thing is true about the numbers issue. Do you now say to the guys, we can clamp the law on you and we can lock you up? When in fact they can say, something, you allowed us to play in the street all these years. We built a house in the street because you told us not to play in the street, but you never came and got us out of the street. You didn't punish us. So now who's guilty? The ones who broke the law or those who allowed it to be broken? Again, if you do not enforce law, you are a lawbreaker as well. I want to repeat that. If you don't enforce law that you created, you are a lawbreaker also. And so it is like when you tell your children certain things, you say, I'll punish you if you do certain things. If the kid tries it, you don't punish him. He tries it a second time, third time. Now the question is, who's really the problem? Is it the kid who's testing it, or is it the parent who's not enforcing it?
That's loaded. Be careful how you answer that, but be liberal in how you dissect it and analyze it, because it's top heavy. It is loaded. And that's exactly what we are saying. That's why my topic today has been entitled, Stupid Is as Stupid Does. Who are the honors on? Not just them, but us, by being can get us out of this jam that we in. We, those with the authority in a sovereign country called the Bahamas. Only we. Friends, I've got lots of text messages here this evening, but I won't read them. I'm going to post them. Go to our Facebook page at Hard Copy and read the various posts because they're quite interesting. And in the essence of time, I won't read them today. But we have a series going on here. This is a series that must happen so that we can refocus this country. Our country has lost focus. We are so now busy. The headlines, we're so busy talking about nothing. The headlines now say carnival vendors may get payout. We told you that last week. So now that's the headline today. The trouble is, I say we wait until Mr. Major makes his report, and then we can all take a shot at it. I think the big problems that we have today is that we have to focus on what the problems are. We have been deluding ourselves that this is not a problem. We have to get the kind of courage to deal with a matter that is very, very desperate. Desperate for them who are running here, and desperate for us who live here and who don't believe in running. Desperate. Now, maybe we will get some results if we decide to ask the government very kindly and to petition them and to agitate and to advocate that priority number one is the problem of illegals in our country. Priority number two is the problem of them continuing to come. Priority number three is the problem that we can find a way suitable to deal with all of the above. And priority number four, we don't have much time to diffuse it. Sobering. I'll leave you with that tonight. Let's go home, Irvin. Hard Copy has been a presentation of the McKinney Media Group, and we want to thank our sponsors, the Utilities Regulatory